Você acha que todo mundo que errou merece uma segunda chance? Ou só alguns? A pergunta fica um pouquinho mais difícil quando a gente está perguntando sobre traficantes, assassinos, sequestradores, sobre estupradores. Ou ainda, você já parou para pensar para que serve um presídio? Serve para isolar as pessoas, isolar os criminosos da sociedade ou para tratar e regenerar eles? Isso leva ao tema do episódio de hoje: encarceramento em massa.
This has impacted my life so much. I'm afraid not to speak out, not to tell my story, not for people to know. When you incarcerate women and mothers, you incarcerate the whole family.
Eu acompanhei no Festival de Sundance, em Utah, a ACLU, que é uma sociedade que defende as liberdades civis e que fala um pouquinho sobre a questão do encarceramento em massa. A ACLU fez uma série de 3 curtas baseados em histórias reais sobre americanos que foram presos e tiveram desdobramentos sinistros nas suas vidas. Então, se você está pensando que uma das funções do presídio é diminuir o dano que um criminoso causa à sociedade, essas histórias mostram como muitas vezes a prisão pode agravar e aumentar o dano.
That actually doesn't even end when you leave the prison house gate. But when you go back to your community, to your family, to your loved ones, you continue living in an invisible prison, deprived of basic civil liberties and civil rights like the right to vote and nearly 50,000 other legal rights. It's a form of legal discrimination, and it really is a form of the new Jim Crow.
Você pode achar que esse é um tema de exclusividade do Brasil, mas não é. É um tema também de país rico. Muitas das coisas que às vezes a gente acha que são questões de país pobre, não necessariamente não são. São questões de legislação.
We are living in a mass incarceration crisis right now in the United States that is depriving millions of Americans of their basic rights and freedoms. The United States has the distinction of being the world's largest incarcerator. We have the highest incarceration rate in the world. We have almost 5% of the world's population and nearly 25% of the world's prisoners. On any given day, 2.3 million people are incarcerated in the United States. Of those 2.3 million, nearly 500,000 haven't even been convicted of a crime. Many just cannot afford cash bail.
Você estava falando, poxa, mas por que será que vale a pena falar sobre encarceramento em massa nos Estados Unidos? Porque boa parte das nossas políticas são importadas dos Estados Unidos. As pessoas acham que porque tudo que é americano é bom, então acabam puxando isso. Sem querer ou por querer, as nossas prisões estão lotadas, assim como as americanas, e entre a lotação estão os mais pobres e os afrodescendentes. A gente está acostumado a ler no jornal notícias de grandes empresários corruptos, acostumados por roubar o dinheiro público, que acabam sendo soltos. Mas, geralmente, os mais pobres, menos favorecidos, sem acesso a um bom advogado e a conexões, não têm a mesma chance. Vamos então aqui olhar um pouquinho para a realidade americana para tentar entender o que isso pode trazer de proveitoso para a nossa reflexão sobre o Brasil.
I had been up for like 3 days. I was extremely fatigued. Hair wasn't combed. I still had on my nightgown. When the judge told me my bail, I almost fainted. I couldn't move. I've lived on the south side of Chicago all my life. I have 2 kids. My son is amazing. He gets along well with his sister, but of course he's 5, she's 14. He feels like I'm in the house with 2 women. Sometimes he say, all I want is just peace. And we'll just look at him and laugh and say, did you hear what he just said? I was going through a divorce. A lot of things got bitter, and I had an altercation with my mother-in-law. I had no inkling that I was going to be arrested because I didn't start it. I was defending myself. After 3 days of lockup, I was taken to court. I remember going there and it sounded like you're at an auction. You can't talk to the judge, you can't say anything. Just stand there, put your hands behind your back. The judge assessed my bail at $250,000, $25,000 to walk. I'm like, I don't have a background. I've never been to jail. You know, why would my bond be so high? I'm 46 years old, and my entire life was determined right there within 30 seconds. I was in jail for 14 months. I lost my business, my housing. I couldn't see my kids just because I couldn't make bail. In the end, I took a plea, not because I didn't think I could beat the case, but because I needed to be with my children. They had already suffered enough. I don't think that society is really understanding when you incarcerate women, you're incarcerating the whole family. When I got the film for mine, my son, which couldn't make it, I took him and I let him see it. He just started crying. He said, "Mommy, you can't show this. It hurts too much. Don't do this." So I said to him, "Did you see the impact that it did to you? If it impacted you, I hope it impact people the same way." It was hard for me to come home just after 14 months. When women in jail, when they come home, they lose their houses, their income. They most likely have no one to come home to.
Se por acaso você acha que isso não é problema seu, lembra que a gente vive num planeta só, numa sociedade só, e que não tem muro e condomínio capaz de isolar os mais favorecidos dos menos favorecidos.
Are there reasons that that this is an issue that everybody should support?
More than 100 million Americans are living with arrested convictions. They are white, black, Asian, Latino, they are female, they are male, they are transgender, they are rich, they are poor, they are politicians, they are doctors, they are lawyers, they are unemployed. And then when we think about the amount of resources that are invested in destroying people's lives under the guise of making us safer, that's a lie, and we are all living it, and we're all contributing to it in some way, shape, or form. When we have, I think, an estimated $80 billion spent on putting people in jails and prisons and not having enough money for schools, hospitals to put mentally ill people in, and all of the other things that directly impact our quality of life, it's not an issue that just impacts me because I was incarcerated, or my daughter, or my wife, or my neighborhood or community. We are all contributing to it, and it's taken from us and not giving us the quality return of our investment that it should.
The system that we have is not reflective of our shared values, right? On one hand, we say that we value justice, we value humanity and equality, but on the other hand, we have policies that don't reflect that. Especially now in this current administration, we have policies that only serve to further dehumanize people, to further oppress and depress human beings, right? Is this the kind of system that we want to happen? And then when we look at other systems, right, we see examples of what can be possible. You look at systems like Sweden, right? There's prisons with no fences. Imagine that, right? There's places in India where police officers don't even have handcuffs. Imagine that. There's places also in the UK where family members are able to stay with their loved ones during their incarceration. Imagine that. If the system that we have is not reflective of our shared values, then we are morally compelled to act.
Ao mergulhar no sistema penitenciário, eu consegui abrir minha cabeça, abrir o horizonte e pude conhecer algumas iniciativas muito legais que a gente já falou aqui no canal, por exemplo, um grupo de teatro que tem em uma penitenciária em Guarulhos, que eu ajudei a reativar e que utiliza da arte como instrumento para ajudar a fomentar um lado emocional e preparar o detento para ser reinserido na sociedade com dignidade e condições de se reerguer e se reconstruir. A gente contou aqui no canal também, por exemplo, a história do Eduardo Lira, que o pai era um ex-detento e hoje segue uma vida honesta, decente, e criou esse filho maravilhoso que é o Eduardo, que está transformando a vida de milhares e milhares de jovens nas periferias do Brasil. Provavelmente alguém deve estar falando assim, bom, você está apontando defeito, reclamando, e solução?
What are specific actions that folks can take to help this movement of ending mass incarceration?
We have to put pressure on the lawmakers. These are the people that we put, that goes to Washington, that sits there. They need to know how it feels on the streets. They are so hierarchy that they forget who put them in office. We have to change names. We have to put better politicians in the office to make decisions for us.
One simple way to support ending mass incarceration is watch a cartoon about it, right? And what I mean by that is that it's a very powerful animation that we have right here. It's innovative, creative. Screenings at your church, at your business, at your house. Talk about it. We have to get these issues out, and this is a great way. There's other documentaries and videos as well. So, but yeah.
Uma das formas de conhecer um pouco mais sobre o sistema penitenciário é através de livros, como os livros do Dr. Drauzio Varela, que são excelentes, alguns filmes, são exercícios de empatia que a gente pode fazer para se colocar no lugar do outro e refletir como a gente pode tornar a nossa sociedade mais justa e humana para as pessoas.
So, I think about who's here, your screenwriters and actors, and you have access to spaces that we don't have access to. So one of the things that you can do is that you can amplify our voices, right? And this is why I really appreciate this project, because, it wasn't someone trying to tell my story or trying to control my narrative. It was trying to tell us what the issue is, and we'll amplify that, right? We can't tell you, some people say, oh, well, I'm a voice for the voiceless. In 13 years, I've never met anyone who's voiceless. I've met people whose voices have been muted and have been shut down. So definitely amplify the voices of those people who are directly impacted too. Support efforts that are actually led by people who are directly impacted. Who better to know what the issue is than somebody who's been impacted by the issues? It's just, it's kind of simple math, but it's really not reflected in organizational policies, and even in a lot of policies coming out right now out of the new administration and things like that. And then lastly, a lot of these policies happen is because folks are not even seen as human in the first place, right? And that can be reflected in the language that we use, right? Sometimes we say things like convict and criminal and ex-con and things like that. And the problem with that is that there's things that I can do to a convict or a criminal or whatever that I can't do to somebody's mother. There are things that I can do to a jailbird that I can't do to somebody's son. So think about ways in which you can humanize those who've been impacted. So amplify their voices, support people, support efforts that are led by people who are directly impacted, and of course find creative ways, to humanize these issues.
Vale lembrar que nas próximas eleições desse ano, os políticos vão ter à disposição
1,7 bilhões de reais
para fazer as suas campanhas políticas, perpetuando às vezes a bandidagem no Congresso, ou seja, vale a pena pensar quem causa mais dano à sociedade. É aquele detento pé de chinelo que está preso numa cadeia, ou se é um deputado, ministro ou governante corrupto. Com essa eu me despeço. Se vocês puderem seguir o canal e compartilhar, eu agradeço muito. Tá certo? No YouTube a gente tem todo o nosso conteúdo organizado. Muito obrigado e boa noite.